Hey, Grimmy here, and welcome to the start of a brand new series on the channel, which I guess I'm going to call Grimutalks, which is essentially a yapping session where I talk about a specific topic related to the game every week, I guess. The reason for this is because for the start of this year, I'm going to be super busy, and I still want to post videos on this channel, so I'm going to move back and focus on a simpler content that's just easier to make, that doesn't really require so much editing on the video or audio front, the same way a PvP video would. So for this video, I'm actually going to be talking about the brand new Super Saiyan Future Gohan and regular old Trunks, who revives into Super Saiyan Trunks from the future, who's still a kid. This character is obviously really cool, and I think in terms of community reception, these characters have been, this specific character actually has been received super well, because in terms of the animations, definitely the first thing, the character is insane and is on a completely whole another level. It's insane to see how hype the Legends Festival after party is in comparison to Legends Festival itself, which in my opinion for 2024 was definitely a bit more on the lackluster end of things. This Gohan, I think the big selling point for the character would be the fact that the animations are so advanced. I think seeing this definitely shows how increasing the game requirements, the system requirements to run the game, which is already planned to be done or has already been done, I'm not exactly sure. It's actually going to be a great step for the game because the devs can essentially do crazier stuff with the character's animations, which I think you're seeing on screen right now. I think in terms of the general variety that you get to see from a single character, you get to see how Gohan does the LF, how Trunks does the LF, and then you can see two different revive animations that ultimately lead to the same character. It's such a unique way of designing a character that we haven't really seen yet. In terms of the character's strengths, they're definitely good, but what I do like is that they're not insanely overpowered, and they don't really introduce an insane meta-defining mechanic right off the bat at the start of the new year, which I think is really nice, because what that means is we get to be a bit more acclimated with the current meta, while also still being able to see these cool characters that we've never actually seen anything like before, without really changing too much and, altering the mechanics of the game in too big of a way. I think this character definitely strikes a balance between novelty and familiarity, which I think does give him essentially a fair, well reception. Of course you're gonna like this character because there are a lot that you already recognize, but also in many other ways, something that you've never seen before. I think it's really cool, and you compare it to past years, there's definitely a situation, a kind of phase in the game where the devs really focus on the quantity of premium Legends Limited units as opposed to their quality. So you get to see these units who have really good animations, obviously, but nothing coming even close to this Gohan and Trunks. Even in Legends Festival, you can't really say that any of the units that were released in that celebration have animations to the level of this Gohan and Trunks, because you get to see the anime accuracy of it as well. Whereas I think we've gotten more accustomed to a lot of game original animations or animations inspired by other games, like the Super Vegito LF that's inspired by Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You get to see these animations that are actually true to the anime, that are done in a much higher quality, I guess, in a much better fashion, in my opinion. And we haven't really seen that in Legends Festival, but for the after party, the fact that they dropped this character I think is huge, because it really shows how well the devs can make units, design characters for their animations, how well they're placed in the meta. This is an example of a high quality character that I believe we should be seeing more in the future, because as of right now, the characters are just strong, they're different, they're new, but they're nothing impressive. They don't really change the game in any way, and I'm looking at this guy right here, and it can even in some cases suck and just completely fall off in terms of how they are actually performing in the game in comparison to how the player base really had their expectations set. For Goku Black especially, I think as a Legends Festival release, we were really expecting this guy to be super strong, but unfortunately we didn't really see much of that. He kind of sucked and only really worked in specific situations. There wasn't even anything really cool about the character. The animations were nothing that we've nothing new. Like, we've already seen it before. We've seen a transforming Goku Black before. It's nothing new. Whereas with this Gohan and Trunks, there's definitely an emphasis on brand new things that we've never seen before, with the succession ability, which I think opens the door as well to brand new units. I think in terms of Gohan and Trunks themselves, right, I think we've talked about the past year in terms of really bad seasons and phases in the game in terms of releases. But talking about the present, moving forward, I definitely think that Gohan and Trunks aren't that strong. They're not meta-defining, which, like I've said a million times in the past, is what you want to be aiming for as a free-to-play player when you want to summon for units. This character not being like an insanely meta-defining character means that you can safely skip them. And obviously you're gonna miss out on using their brand new shiny animations, but in the long run I think it's definitely more beneficial to skip the manner, even if these two as a unit are actually not that bad and definitely competitive, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But I like the fact that these guys are meta without actually being insanely overpowered and busted like most Hybrid Saiyan units are when they release. So it's nice to see that the developers starting this year off with essentially a better pulse on how the game works, how the game ecosystem essentially works, and I think that is a great sign moving forward. If they continue to make sure and monitor how people are playing the game, what kind of units are strong, what kind of units are weak, what makes a unit strong, then moving forward I definitely think that we're going to be seeing a lot more higher quality Legends Limited units who don't disrupt the meta in a big way, but are fun and definitely target a specific audience who enjoy the character specifically, I guess. In terms of the future, I definitely want the devs to focus more on quality in terms of quantity, especially for premium units. I think in terms of 1% sparking units like this Android 18, who released alongside this Gohan and Trunks, obviously it's a brand new character model with new animations as well, and that's obviously something that deserves a lot of credit because that's not something that's really easily done. But the bar is set pretty low for 1% sparking units. I don't really care for them anymore, to be completely honest. I don't even care about specific Legends Limited units. Why should I care about 1% sparkings that are only going to be useful for a really short period of time? Ultimately, I want to see units who are Legends Limited or Ultras who have a sense of quality to them. I don't want to see frequent releases every month, this brand new unit that is like nothing we've seen before, whatever, new abilities, when in terms of like the animations and how well the characters' elements and their abilities are kind of taking into consideration the meta as it is. I think without that kind of additional thorough kind of analysis in terms of the character's design, it'll definitely set them back a bit, in my opinion. Having a character like Gohan and Trunks who in terms of animation quality is just through the roof and nothing like nothing we've seen before. I don't think I can say that enough. And in terms of the actual unit design, isn't too overpowered but still competitive. I think that's what we really need to see more of as we build up to the anniversary and then this year's Legends Festival. One Legends Limited unit every I guess 45 days I think would be amazing, especially if they could be up to this quality. Even a Legends Limited unit every 2 months. I think that would be a bit more spaced out though. I think the community definitely would need to essentially get used to that before we could get anywhere in terms of, before like we can actually start appreciating the units. Waiting for too long is obviously going to ruin the general opinion of the community on the game, because it'll make it seem as if the game is dying or the devs are just being lazy, not really creating units, when in fact they're focusing a lot more on the unit's quality. I definitely think that making units more frequently, premium units frequently, definitely has its own advantages in the sense that a lot of content creators are going to make content on that unit, and it's those community created pieces of work that ultimately drive the publicity of the game. It's what ultimately fuels the community. It's something that gets a conversation going, that gets more people interested in playing if it's a unit that they like. But then obviously, if you don't really take into consideration how the unit affects the entire ecosystem of the game and doesn't really push the envelope, I guess, in terms of animation quality, then it's in the long term, like the game won't really change or improve in any significant way. I think focusing more on quality in the future, moving forward in this year of 2025, I think the game could definitely go a long way if there is just essentially better animations and better designed unit kits. Either they age really well or they fit the current meta really well. That's really what I'm aiming for. That's really what I'm looking forward to seeing from the developers. So yeah, I think in terms of unit releases, that's definitely what I want to see moving forward for this year at least, because that's definitely what the game needs. A bit of improvements on all fronts, as opposed to saturation on every single tag that's available in the game. I think focusing on specific tags and making sure that there's a really cool unit that is good in both animation quality and design kit quality, I think is definitely what we currently need. But that's just what I think, and I think even if you disagree with me, you can agree with the fact that the game is on the right track if they choose to continue designing units just like this Gohan and Trunks. If they can keep it up for this entire year, I think it'll be a great year for Dragon Ball Legends, and it'll ultimately be good for both the developers and the community, because we're supporting a team that actually does what we want them to do, which is make a quality game that everyone can enjoy. So yeah, I do hope that the Dragon Ball Legends development team can definitely keep it up for this year, and hopefully they do drop like quality content that we can ultimately, as the Dragon Ball Legends community, can consume and enjoy together. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this Gohan and Trunks, how you think that their presence really affects the game, or any additional criticisms that you'd like to share related to this video. You can leave it all in the comment section down below. I'd love to respond and discuss it with you, because that's what the comment section's for. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, if you did think my take makes a lot of sense and I put a lot of logical reasoning behind it. Also, make sure to subscribe so that you're notified whenever I drop a brand new video. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Bye, thanks for watching, never stay perfect, always get better. Peace.